This is CBN NewsWatch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. We begin in our nation's capital, where the U.S. Senate approving a measure to push through President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill without needing Republican support. Vice President Kamala Harris made the breaking vote, her first since taking office. It came around 5:30 this morning after an all-night session. It still has to go back to the House for approval due to changes made in the Senate. Some leaders in Washington believe the stimulus package is needed due to continued loss of jobs and unemployment across the nation. The Labor Department reports U.S. employers added just 49,000 jobs in January, but unemployment did fall to 6.3%. The agency believes half the drop happened because some of the people found jobs while others simply quit looking and weren't counted as unemployed. President Joe Biden addressed the situation today, saying it's very clear our economy is still in trouble.
And this at a time when we have more than 10 million people out of work. 4 million people have been out of work for 6 months or longer, and 2.5 million women have been driven from the workforce. 15 million Americans are behind in the rental payments. 24 million adults and 12 million children literally don't have enough food to eat. These aren't Democrats or Republicans, they're Americans, and they're suffering. They're suffering not because of anything they did. Through no fault of their own, they're suffering. Once-in-a-century virus has decimated our economy, and it's still wreaking havoc on our economy today. And so much of it is still about the virus.
The president went on to say he's going to act fast to deal with the ongoing crisis and help Americans who are in pain and have lost hope. The White House says the Pentagon will deploy troops to assist with COVID-19 vaccinations. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin approved a request for assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It means about 1,000 active duty military personnel will deploy to help state vaccination centers. They will assist with setting up some 100 mass vaccination centers called for by the president. We hope to have economist Steve Moore later in the newscast to talk about the economic impact of COVID and Mr. Biden's plan. President Biden, by the way, says the days of rolling over to Russia are over. During a visit to the State Department Thursday, the president called on Russia's leader to immediately release opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Thousands of people have been arrested for protesting Navalny's arrest. This White House made it very clear to the Kremlin that unlike during President Trump's time, the Biden administration plans to take a tougher line against Vladimir Putin.
Unlike the previous administration, we will be taking steps to hold Russia accountable for the range of malign activities that it has undertaken. That includes interfering in America's democracy. It includes the poisoning of citizens on European soil with chemical weapons. It includes the types of hacks and breaches that you just referred to, and many other things as well. We will do that at a time and in a manner of our choosing. And we believe that imposing those costs and consequences will have an effect on Russia's behavior going forward.
Hours ago, Russia said it would expel diplomats from Sweden, Poland, and Germany for reportedly attending a rally in support of opposition leader Navalny. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says the vote yesterday by the Democrat-controlled House to kick her off her committee assignments will simply allow her to shift her focus for her state and the nation.
So now I have a lot of free time on my hands, which means I can talk to a whole lot more people all over this country, and I can talk to more people and make connections and build a huge amount of support that I've already got started with people that want to put America first and don't care about the party lines.
Greene was voted out of the committees by Democrats and 11 Republicans for remarks she made before taking office. Some Republicans warned that this could backfire on Democrats in the future. when the GOP retakes the House. We're going to now economist Steve Moore with the grassroots economic group Freedom Works to talk about the president's plan that he just unveiled. Steve, great to have you back on the broadcast. You say the Biden stimulus package is Bernie Sanders' wish list. What do you mean?
Well, first of all, this is maybe the worst budget ever introduced in the history of the United States Congress, which is amazing, given all of the bad budgets we've passed. But this is the budget is $6 trillion in 1 year, $6 trillion, and it's almost $4 trillion of deficits in 1 year. In 1 year, it took the country 200 years to rack up $4 trillion in debt, and we're going to do it in 1 year. We already have. This is the most important point. We've already spent $3.7 trillion on COVID relief, including $900 billion that passed shortly after Christmas. There's $1 trillion that still hasn't been spent. $1 trillion hasn't been spent. Why don't we spend that $1 trillion and then talk about another $1.9 trillion if we need it? We don't. The economy's getting better. We got a good jobs report today. The unemployment rate fell again. We're starting to see the states open up. We're seeing the vaccine get out there. We do not need to bankrupt our country to get the economy moving again.
Steve, on the point of the latest jobs reports, what do you think about it and the toll the pandemic has taken?
Well, first of all, we don't have an unemployment problem in red states. We have an unemployment problem in blue states. We have an unemployment problem in states like Michigan, in states like California, in states like Illinois, in states like New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and Rhode Island. Gee, what do all those states have in common? Oh, yeah, they have Democratic governors who shut down their businesses, shut down their schools, shut down their restaurants and shops. If you shut down your economy, you're going to have a lot of unemployed people. Meanwhile, look at Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Nebraska. Those states are back completely to normal, with a few exceptions, but they have low unemployment. In fact, some of those states actually have a shortage of workers rather than a shortage of jobs. We have to get those blue state governors to open up their economy, and then we will get back to full employment. Joe Biden said today that it would take 10 years to get back to full employment. That's nonsense. We can do it in 10 weeks if we simply get those governors to open up their economy and let people go back on the job.
And it looks like, for example, in California, in New York, schools are debating, folks are debating whether to reopen schools and so forth. A lot of pressure on California's governor. You think in the end, it's about reopening these various states around the country?
And getting the vaccine out there. And look, I like Biden. Biden is right that we have to, make getting the vaccine to people the highest priority. Thank God we had Operation Warp Speed under Donald Trump, which has gotten this amazing, miraculous vaccine out there, not just in the United States, but around the world. This is going to save tens of millions of lives. I'm not so sure, by the way, we need massive government to distribute the vaccine. Let's use the private sector. Let's use the private companies, the delivery companies. Let's use Walgreens and Walmart and others. They'd probably do a better job than the governors and the mayors are doing.
Okay, Steve, we'll have to leave it there. As always, Steve, thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. Appreciate your insights. Steve Moore with Freedom Works. Have a great weekend, sir.
You too.
Thank you. Folks, still ahead on NewsWatch, there is new movement in making faith a part of diversity in corporate America. And Super Bowl Sunday, just days away. My man, sports anchor Sean Brown will join us with his insight and picks. But coming up next, a new project helps find justice for women with post-abortion complications. That story in a moment. Stay with us.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel. Now available at cbnradio.com.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Welcome back to the CBN News Channel. Pro-life activist Abby Johnson is expanding her fight for life to include women who've been hurt by abortion with a new project called Hurt After Abortion. She joins us now to talk about it. Welcome to the broadcast, Abby. Tell us about the idea behind Hurt After Abortion and the need.
Sure. So, over the past 11 years since I've left Planned Parenthood, I've heard from so many women who come to me and say, I had, this complication after my abortion. I, had a uterine perforation. I had hemorrhaging. I cannot get pregnant. I suffer infertility. Just so many problems. And the abortion industry has, by and large, not been held responsible for those complications. They're not held responsible for their shoddy care of women, for their negligence. And, the only option that women really have is to seek out their own attorney and to file charges against the abortion industry. And that's cost prohibitive for most women. And so what we have done is we have created an avenue for them to do just that. So we are, telling women that we have legal options for them at no cost. We have partnered with the nonprofit legal organization Thomas More Society. And so we are taking their claims. We are listening to them. We are filing legal claims on their behalf, and we are going after the abortion industry so that they can finally be held accountable.
How can this help beyond the help that they get medically?
Well, the abortion industry needs to be held accountable, and people need to understand that, especially I think just our society in general needs to understand that abortion is not safe, and that this is just one of the many lies that has been touted to the American public, to the world, that abortion is just a safe, mundane, normal, sterile, bloodless, pain-free surgical procedure. And the bottom line is that it's not. It's painful. It has significant risks. And so, we're able now, because of this project, to really be able to show the world that abortion has these very serious risks attached to it. And so not only are women going to get the help that they need, but we're also busting through this lie that has been sold to the public.
What are the responses that you are getting, Abby, from women about this new initiative?
We're having women contact us. The response has been overwhelming. Women are contacting us. Some women that have been physically harmed, some women that have been emotionally harmed, and we need to get them into support groups. We have also partnered with Support After Abortion, which is a great project, and they're plugging women into local post-abortion groups so that they can get emotional help. But we are hearing from women who have had significant medical complications after having abortion. So we're sad for them, but also excited that they can finally receive the help and the care that they need.
Yeah, real quick, Abby, how can folks get involved?
They can find out more from our Facebook page, our Instagram, but also they can go to hurtafterabortion.org.
Okay, terrific. We'll have to leave it there. Abby, thank you so much for all that you do. Have a great weekend, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Folks, we'll be back right after this.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5, Wednesday night at 9:30.
Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Diversity and inclusion are big buzzwords in our country, but in corporate America, there's a new trend to make faith a part of diversity. CBN News' Heather Sells talked with Dr. Brian Grimm at the Religious Freedom and Business Foundation about what's happening. Take a look.
Corporate America has championed diversity for some time, but more recently it's making room for religious inclusivity. Next week, the Religious Freedom and Business Foundation will host its second annual Faith at Work conference. Here now with more is Dr. Brian Grimm, the foundation's president. Dr. Grimm, thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you, Heather.
You know, it's really interesting. We're seeing top companies like Google, Tyson, PayPal take on this issue. Where does the rest of corporate America stand?
It's a growing movement in corporate America. It's becoming more of the next big thing for corporate America to do because they focused on diversity of all sorts from race, gender, sexual orientation. And many companies are realizing there's another big part of people's lives, and that's their faith. And that's what's next.
What are the companies seeing as the benefits for them really taking on promoting welcoming environments for people of all faiths?
Well, every one of these big companies that you just mentioned lays out a business case for this. One, that when people can bring their whole self to work and don't have to check their faith at the door, then they get somebody who's more invested in the work. They bring their whole self to work, including their ethics, their values. And then the interesting thing is that this helps build connections. So even if you have a different religion, or even if it's an atheist you're working beside, if you're open and honest about who you are and what your values are, that builds deeper connections. And that's what keeps people engaged in work. It's not just doing the job, making a gadget or providing a service. It's the person you work next to. Just like in a foxhole, you know, it's the friendship that's there that makes that teamwork happen. And that's how companies work. And that's one of the big motivations and bottom line business reasons why they're moving in this direction.
Well, it's so interesting because I think a lot of times the tendency is, well, we'll just avoid talking about that, you know, if that's a touchy area. I wanted to ask you, too, one of your panels focuses on workplace chaplains. How are they ministering right now as the U.S. is trying to recover from this pandemic and also the violence in the Capitol?
Well, it's an exciting panel. We have the chaplain of the U.S. House of Representatives. We have chaplains from Tyson Foods and American Airlines. And we're seeing thousands of companies across the United States employ chaplains. And that's something not many people are familiar with. But say at Tyson's Foods, where they've had to work straight through this pandemic, that's a big emotional, spiritual, physical toll on people. And to have a chaplain who can come up alongside you and just ask how's it going, what else is in your life that needs help, that's a big plus. And the employees, they say, that's why I want to keep working here.
I want to ask you also, there's a lot of disagreement in our country right now about LGBTQ rights versus religious freedom. We've seen corporate America embracing the LGBT community in recent years. How can a focus on religious inclusivity address tensions in this area?
Oh, it's actually a very positive step forward because, first of all, about half of all LGBTQ plus people identify as religious. So if you're thinking of religious freedom, for them, religious freedom is just as important. And even if you're not religious, religious freedom is important because that religious freedom, the First Amendment makes sure that there is no state religion, that everybody has that freedom to choose. And that's what makes faith important, is that actual choice. So in the workplace, when they've opened up the door to faith, what we've found is many LGBT people say, oh, I'm glad I'm welcome there too. And many people of faith are saying, you know, there's just artificial animosity that's been built up, sometimes through the press, through different narratives that are out there. But you're working beside somebody who's different than you, but you're working on the same project. That's camaraderie. And what they found is that when they let people bring their whole self, whether it's some physical identity or a sexual identity or religious identity now, that builds camaraderie. And that's what we're finding. It doesn't create more division. It creates more cohesion in the workplace.
It's those one-to-one connections. Well, Dr. Brian Grimm, thanks for your time and what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Watch On the Home Front today at 2:30. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Super Bowl Sunday is just days away, and we're all eager to see who will take home the trophy. CBN sports anchor and director Sean Brown joins us live. So, Sean, who do you think is going to win? Buccaneers or the Chiefs?
Hey, George, good afternoon. Man, I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one. They're hot. They've been hot since last season. They're returning for their second consecutive Super Bowl. However, they are playing Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, Tom Brady, the greatest of all time. You can argue that if you want to, but it is what it is. He is amazing, and he's proven it that he can leave. He can leave the Patriots, go to a new organization with a new team, cultivate that team, get them on the same page, and lead them to a Super Bowl. So there's no more question. He can do it. Now the question is, can he win with that team? We know what the Chiefs can do. At the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to the defense, and if the defense can make those small mistakes happen, fumbles, interceptions, bumping at the line, throwing off the timing between Tom Brady and his receivers, or Patrick Mahomes and his receivers. Those are the kinds of things that I'm looking for to turn the tide in this game. So it's going to be an exciting game. I can't wait, man.
Yeah. CBN will air the Super Bowl breakfast this weekend. Tell us about this.
Yeah, the Super Bowl breakfast has been going on for years, sponsored by Athletes in Action, and it's a place where they get a chance to honor athletes and coaches. The Bart Starr Award is an award that honors it's an annual award that they give to the player that exemplifies leadership and character on the field, at home, and in the community. And this year's winner is Demario Davis, linebacker for the New Orleans Saints. And he truly deserves it. It's a great time. You get to hear from players, coaches, talk about their faith openly and unashamed. And it's just a really inspirational time.
Yeah, as we mentioned, that will be airing this weekend on the CBN News Channel. You definitely want to catch it. As you mentioned, the New Orleans Saints linebacker Demario Davis is receiving that Bart Award, part of the breakfast there as well. I understand you spoke with his biggest fan about it. What did he say?
I did. Actually, it was his wife, Tamala Davis. Had a chance to talk with her about what she's seen. A lot of times we see the athletes, but they're more than just athletes. They're also husbands, fathers. And so she's had a front row seat walking alongside him, seeing him in the community, on how he prepares for games. And so she just talked a little bit. I think we have a clip here. It's just talking about what she sees.
He's just such an encouraging person. Just if you've met him, he has a sermon on his heart at all times, regardless of what it is. And so I'm just always just so moved and encouraged by his faith and his ability to just really seek God in so many different areas of his life. He does so many different things just from the goodness of his heart and his desire to see the gospel go forward. And so he's humbled and just grateful for the opportunity to be recognized. But recognition or not, he would still run the race. He would still do all of the things that he feel like God has called and led him to do. And so I think he's just kind of in awe. He was so shocked, so surprised, yet so grateful and so humble just for the opportunity. And every time he gets some sort of award or some sort of recognition, he tries to use it to channel and call out, other men and other leaders and other individuals just to come and labor alongside him. I think to really be in tune with God and see the different avenues that he may be calling them to lead and to serve, not just, on the field, because sometimes people can feel like, football is, who they are. And it's essentially just what they do. It's not who they are. And so it's like, okay, yes, I can lead on the field, but it's bigger than leading on the field. Like, I also want to challenge and encourage people to also lead at home, to also lead inside of their communities. And inside of those places are where you're going to see the most impact and the most change, and you're going to be able to reach the most people.
There it is.
That's pretty cool. Sean, you're the host of Going the Distance. Real quickly, what's coming up this weekend?
We're going to hear more from Tamala Davis about, just talking about, men in the home, the players at home and what that's like. But also we're going to hear from Tony Dungy talking about the soul of a team. And he's going to break down what that means. It's all about the soul of a team and how do you become a successful organization. All
right, terrific. Look forward to that. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. You can catch Going the Distance this weekend on the CBN News Channel. Folks, that is it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Wish you all a fantastic weekend. Be safe, be healthy. On behalf of everybody here at the Christian Broadcasting Network, goodbye and God bless.